Welcome in, everyone. This live Wednesday afternoon edition of Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for being with us. And thank you for your patience, by the way. We had some technical issues on the other end. That's Carl Roberts on the other end. Carl, bye for now. We'll talk to you later in the wrestling segment. Need to explain to everyone, and my apologies to you. The social media, you can reach me at the bottom of the screen, ring786 at X, formerly Twitter, facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe to AGT Network and my channel on YouTube. We are live, and also the upcoming fights that are important. It's also scrolled. My apologies to you all for waiting and logging in and seeing nothing, and no Keith Thurman, as I've been pushing for the last week and days heavily to be on the show live with us. It's not Keith Thurman's fault. This is technical issues that happen in this technical world we live in. We were not able to connect due to problems on our part here at the network, and my apologies to you. And most of all, very disappointed that I could not get to talk to Keith Thurman live. One time, Thurman here on the program with us. Perhaps he'll do a Zoom interview with us. Scheduling conflicts arose on his end, and Keith could not be with us as scheduled that I wanted to. Perhaps we'll get him on a Zoom or live next week. I do want Keith Thurman on this program. He wanted to be on this program with me. But this is the world we live in, folks. When you depend on technology and things go astray as they did this afternoon. And my apologies for not having Keith Thurman with you, and also for being late live on the program. Perhaps we'll go back to a tape to live basis next week until we could get these glitches. You could tell I'm disappointed, and I really want to talk to Keith. So again, no Keith Thurman, but a very full hour of other boxing news as well, and the MMA content information, some things happening there as well. Big news out of the MMA and pro wrestling. Another Hall of Famer or two going to be inducted in WWE Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that later with Carl Roberts at the bottom of the hour. And yeah, I will do a fact of the week that I was going to give to Keith Thurman, but I'll just do it and give you the answer as I go along. But let's talk about Keith Thurman, even though he's not with us, unfortunately. Keith one-time Thurman, the former champ at 147, moving up to 154 and facing Tim Tszyu on the first Amazon Prime PBC broadcast March 30th. It's almost a week away out in Las Vegas on Amazon Prime pay-per-view, PBC's new venture, Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu. I was going to ask Keith about his feelings of moving up to 154, vying for a title there, being he's a former two-time champion, and most of all, why he took this fight instead of looking at a Terrence Crawford or someone else who we might have less if he prevails in this fight next week in Las Vegas against a tough puncher in Tim Tszyu. But he was quoted the other day saying, when I got the phone call and he woke up, got the phone call to fight Tim Tszyu, he woke up and it got the warrior in him. And indeed, he is a warrior, two-time world champion. Remember his fight with Danny Garcia that I was going to talk about at Barclays Center just a few years back, where he won a controversial split decision and over Danny Garcia. Was going to talk to him about his fight with with a fight with Pacquiao against Nigel Benn that's being talked about. We'll talk about Conor Benn, that is. We'll talk about that later on in the program. Also about Keith Thurman being out of the ring. Will ring rust have an effect on him for this fight? I mean, he hasn't fought in over a year at 35 years old. Does that take off? 2 years, in fact, he hasn't been in the ring. Will that have a toll on a fighter at 35 years of age? But knowing Keith Thurman the way I do, he trains and works out every day. He spars and he keeps himself in good physical condition to be here where he is, fighting on the first Amazon Prime pay-per-view PBC venture on March the 30th. And that's, by the way, for the PBC and Amazon Prime is a good debut, because that is a great card of boxing if you buy it. My only problem with it is that you have to subscribe to Amazon Prime and then pay-per-view at the same time, which will cost you something. I think you might get a 30-day risk, 30-day trial before, and you could cancel it if you want. But Amazon Prime, my friends in the PBC, are in the fight business and kicking off really well March 30th. Keith one-time Thurman against the tough Tim Zhu, 154. It is not for the title. It is 12 rounds, but it's going to be a good one. And also Rolando Romero, Wally as they call him, against Isaac Pitbull Cruz for Romero's WBA junior welterweight title. And many are saying that Cruz, coming off a tough loss last year and a good performance against Gervonta Davis, will win this fight over Romero. Could try and get Romero's comments on the program as well, whether I do it on Zoom or whether I do it here live. I'm trying to line that up because when you talk to Romero, it's exciting, it's interesting. He uses vulgar language, but he knows boxing and he knows what he's talking about. So he's on that show on the same Keith Thurman card as an undercard fight, title fight, and so was Oreste Lara, the middleweight title defense for him, and Sebastian Fundora, the monster, who's fighting for the vacant WBC junior welterweight title. Fundora, of course, the tall, lanky young man who rose to fame rather quickly in boxing, and now coming off a loss, trying to rebound. He did get a win after the loss, but this is for the vacant WBC junior welterweight title. So you have 3 good fights on Amazon Prime pay-per-view coming up on March the 30th, part of the PBC in the new venture, highlighting, as I said, Keith one-time Thurman, who will be hopefully on this program live next week or even after the fight or on Zoom, and we'll get it to you. And again, my apologies about not having Keith Thurman here with us live on the program. Keep it in the ring this week with me, Rich Mancuso. Moving on after that bad news, because I was devastated I couldn't get him. There's a lot going on in boxing. A lot going on in boxing, as you know. There is the fight that just happened last weekend with this guy, Anthony Joshua. And what Anthony Joshua did just showed once again last Friday or Saturday in Saudi Arabia that he is a part of this heavyweight title mix. Joshua has now won his last 4 in a row with a devastating punch over Ngannou. And Ngannou's now 0-2, but has lost also to Tyson Fury, a decision that could have went his way last year, as you know. That early second round, he devastating sharp right, put him down on the mat. And, Fury was tough from Ngannou, but Ngannou looked like he was intimidated. But more importantly, my friends, Anthony Joshua is back and better than ever. He has now won his last 4 fights against Wallen, Helenius, and Jermaine Franklin. And that devastating right in the heavyweight division could lead him to another heavyweight title championship as well. However, he's going to have to wait because still in that mix, despite his 3 knockdowns and 5 of those landed by power punchers, he's going to have to wait because Fury and Usyk are fighting for the unified heavyweight title, as you know, in the middle of May in Saudi Arabia as well. And they'll probably have a rematch, if they already do have a rematch clause in the contract, which means Anthony Joshua will have to still wait in line. Will that devastating right still be effective for Anthony Joshua? He will get his share of fights in between. His goal is to defeat anyone who has those titles that he wants and feels he deserves again. My friends, Anthony Joshua showed this past weekend against Ngannou that he is, again, a force to be reckoned with in the heavyweight division and title picture. Now, many will say he is not the best heavyweight in the division. I can dispute that a bit based on what he's been doing in his last 4 fights with this comeback trail to get the titles back around his waist. Is he the best? Maybe, maybe not. Does he deserve the title shot? Definitely yes. But he has to wait because still to be determined who the unified champion will be between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. And of course, again, as I just mentioned, there is a rematch. So Anthony Joshua will have to wait in line. But sending Ngannou to the mat, especially in that second round, excuse me, everything's going wrong with me today, even my voice, with the devastating short right and the overhand right, definitely sent the message that Anthony Joshua is a force to be reckoned with. Deserves a title shot, will eventually get it, but how long before we see that? On that same card in Saudi Arabia, we saw another heavyweight encounter, and we saw Zhilei Zhang out of China, living in New Jersey. He floored Joseph Parker in round 3 with the left, but Parker gets his consecutive win. He also defeated Deontay Wilder. Zhang floored Parker twice. The judges saw it 114, 112, 115, 111, and 113, 113. Now, you could dispute those scorecards. Carl Roberts behind the scene, can you put up a image of that fight if we have it, where we see Parker and Zhang? If you don't have it, I'll just babble on some more. Parker averaged 30 punches per round thrown. Zhang only with 19. But Parker outlanded Zhang 53-21 in the last half of the fight that got him the victory. Some say that Zhang might have deserved it more. But Parker, when you look at punch stats, showed 53-31 in the last half of the fight got him the win. Now, Zhang will have to regroup and see where he fits in this heavyweight title picture. In the meantime, Joseph Parker could be an inevitable opponent for Anthony Joshua without a title at stake in the heavyweight division to get his shot at either Usyk or Fury. And Nick Ball on the undercard in Saudi Arabia on that card. A split decision win over Ray Vargas. Ball outlanded Vargas 58-47 through rounds 7-12. A disputed decision. Ball and his promoter, Frank Warren of Queensberry, felt the decision should have been his. 2 knockdown rounds, the 8th and the 11th. A rematch most likely should be set up here. There are the punch stats. This rematch for the WBC featherweight title has to happen because many felt Ball won this fight. But again, the outcome of 2 knockdowns in rounds 8 and 11 for Ball, and you wonder why are the judges giving the fight to Ball? Okay, though he outlanded Vargas 58-47 through rounds 7-12. That, my friends, could have been the determining factor in the judge's decision. Either way, there should be a rematch between Ball and Vargas for the WBC featherweight title. When, where? Well, I guess Saudi Arabians would want that again, the kings and princes. We'll see where that goes. All right. And the WBC super welterweight title, once held by Jamal Charlo. We saw this encounter happen in Saudi Arabia, which was a great show, by the way. It started a little early in the United States, but ended a long show, over 5 hours, long boxing card. And you see Madranovic with the 5th round TKO over the number 2 ranked Kababanov. He staggered him with the stoppage at 2:30 of the round. And there it is. There was the big blow. So, Madranovic with the 5th round TKO. And on his way now, as he's a WBC super title, welterweight title holder, once held by Jamal Charlo. All right, moving on. As always, we talk about Ryan Garcia. We always talk about, will he last and fight Devon Haney April 20th, Barclays Center. That too on pay-per-view. You're going to shell out a lot of money for pay-per-view fights the next few months. If you do that, all credit to you. But Ryan Garcia with Golden Boy continues to be a star on his Instagram and Twitter pages, where he has over 1.5 million followers. And Ryan Garcia is claiming now, look at this, that he put on X just a few days ago. He claims the fight is still on, despite a lot of people saying that he might not make it because of his mental state. A lot of you guys are wondering what actually went down. The truth is, I was oppressed. He says he was oppressed. We'll get to that later, Carl. That's about Canelo Alvarez. Well, let's look at Ryan Garcia. Put that tweet back up that was now called X, Carl. There it is. He says he was oppressed and forced to speak from different phones and outlets, meaning he was blocked. A tough 3 days to know. He praises God. He does that all the time. My eyes have been a lot of things. It may have felt that it was some type of episode, saying he's disclaiming that there's something that he doesn't have a mental situation. In that, he's come out and said he suffered from mental illness. That's why you got to dispute all this. I have nothing against Ryan Garcia, but these continuing antics on social media are very disturbing. And yet, he says he's back to training for full force. He's in the gym, punching the bags, and so forth. And he's also been training with Frank Martin, who has Gervonta Davis, an opponent that defeated Ryan Garcia, as you know, last year in that mega fight in Las Vegas. Davis just manhandled Ryan Garcia to where he surrendered in the 7th round and took a knee and said he got hit to the body. But Ryan Garcia is back in the gym. Carl, do we have an image of Ryan hitting the bags and in the gym? He's in Texas training. Do we have that image, Carl? Apparently not. An image of Ryan Garcia training, hitting the bags, yet he continually puts out posts on his Instagram and Twitter and X pages saying there's nothing wrong with him. He's back to full focus boxing and preparing heavily for his encounter with Devin Haney on April 20th, Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. I don't know where this goes, but all I can tell you, folks, just look at his Instagram and X pages every day, constantly, and they're disturbing and also encouraging at the same time. He's buying cars, vehicles for people, new cars, putting them in a contest, instead of focusing just on one thing. Defeat Devin Haney and shut up all the skeptics. That remains to be seen where Ryan Garcia is going as we anticipate this major fight, if it goes on, April 20th, Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And he's cursing on and accusing other podcasters of putting him down and using vulgar language. He's cursing and also about a new energy drink that's out. And he's slamming them for that, saying it's got bad chemicals and is bad for kids. It is disturbing, my friends. And you wonder again, as I said last week, disturbing as to the mental state of where Ryan Garcia is at right now. More to come, more to be determined. You're sure you're going to read about it and hear about it, and I'll have more about it next week. Moving on, positive news, and this is a good fight coming up, announced by Canelo Alvarez, who makes his own fights, the face of boxing. He's back with the PBC now, a one-fight deal. Now we could put that up, Carl. Put up Canelo Alvarez. Here we go. Jaime Munguia, May 4th. PBC on the zone. Pay-per-view, of course. Back and forth it went. Canelo's back with the PBC. And he's fighting his first Mexican opponent since Julio Chavez Jr., and he did that in 2017. He says he's looking forward to this, fighting another Mexican fighter. Now, we all know that Jaime Munguia, undefeated, 43-0, 24 knockouts. He disposed John Ryder in the 9th round by knockout in January. and he can punch. He's an exciting, undefeated Mexican, as you know, fights in close. Great footwork as well, part of Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya Promotions. On May 4th, this is worth the buy on pay-per-view. Two Mexican fighters who will slug it out. Now, Canelo Alvarez, in many ways, some, has diminished in his skills. I tend to agree with that a bit. But Canelo Alvarez has continually shown to shut up the skeptics. And again, now he has a quality opponent to defend his unified 168-pound titles. He's now moving up to light heavyweight. He has avoided, obviously, fighting David Benavidez, who deserves that title shot for all his titles. Benavidez now has since moved on and will be fighting, as he says, sometime in June at light heavyweight. And we'll see where that goes for David Benavidez. And for Benavidez, who I have a lot of respect for, who has a lot of talent, a former champion, Benavidez now moving on. Canelo Alvarez is far from his mind. In the meantime, May 4th, Canelo Alvarez tries to continue his legacy. And a big one it is with Jaime Munguia, May 4th in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, where Canelo Alvarez loves to fight, on the PBC Zone, and it will be on PBC Zone pay-per-view. Very interesting. We'll see where that goes, but I like this fight. It's made. It's a fight that Munguia can win. It's a fight if he can win, if he keeps punching Canelo. But remember this, as much as many might say Canelo Alvarez's style has diminished and his skills, Canelo still has a forceful punch to the body that Jaime Munguia will no doubt look out for. Going to be a good one. Look forward to that. It's on the calendar for May 4th, as you know. All right, and then we get this one that I don't see why, and it hasn't been sanctioned yet, really, nor has it been decided where it's going to be an exhibition or a fight that goes on record. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. So let's take a look at this. You know, when I heard this came about during the week, it blew my mind. I said, why? Oh, why? Another fight that boxing doesn't need. And if Jake Paul, coming off a win last weekend in Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago, wants to continue to be an established fighter and fight established fighters, this is not the route to go. I don't understand it except for this. It's money. Jake Paul generates a lot of revenue. And again, this will be on pay-per-view. Netflix is the answer here at the AT&T Stadium, Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. July 20th, Netflix debuts with pay-per-view, another streaming network well known with the most subscribers in the world among streaming networks, reportedly. But 58-year-old Mike Tyson going back in the ring again. Look, he's in great shape. We know that, though. They said that last week he had to take some time off, had a rest, and might have been getting medically evaluated. Jake Paul wants to progress his career, but not this way, not against Mike Tyson. I believe it'll come down to being an exhibition, even though he's in great shape. We saw that when he fought Roy Jones Jr. a few years back, another extravaganza, as this one will be, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Again, July 20th, Netflix, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. I'm dead against it. I don't like it. Paul should move on and fight viable fighters so he can move on with his career where he supposedly says he's the best in the world. And Mike Tyson, who is still struggling financially, is going to make some good money here. And because you people will buy it. It's an extravaganza. That's what it is. But it may be an exhibition. It might not be sanctioned. It might not go down on the record. And most of all, I hope Mike Tyson's in good enough shape to not get hurt. Let's hope for that, my friends. But Paul Tyson's going to happen on Netflix. The boxing world has gone bonkers. What do you think? Comment, like, and subscribe. YouTube channel where I'm live now as well, Rich Mancuso on the AGT network, and my social media handles on Twitter, X, Facebook, Rich Mancuso, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Here's another one that's in the works, and another one I'm not for. It was more and more likely, as it was speculated, as Eddie Hearn had Manny Pacquiao and Conor Benn together at that same card in Saudi Arabia last weekend. There he is, the record 8 division champion, Manny Pacquiao, Hall of Famer, has not fought since 2021, losing the titles, the WEA Super Welterweight titles. And there he is, Conor Benn, coming off a win over Peter Dobson from the Bronx, New York. Supposedly, Eddie Hearn is saying it's being explored. My sources tell me the fight is just about done and going to go. And Manny Pacquiao, the 8-time division champion, who holds that record, and nobody probably ever get it again, 68-2, a political senator in the Philippines, where he's from and proudly represents, coming back to fight one more time. Out of retirement. Where have we heard that so many times with fighters? They say Pacquiao's in great shape. Conor Benn, of course, established fighter, continues to fight. Pacquiao Benn, is that worth it? Probably will be on pay-per-view as well, or seen free on the zone. I'm against this, my friends. This sets boxing back. But Eddie Hearn is a promoter who knows how to market and generate revenue, not only for Matchroom Boxing, but for all fighters that he represents. In this case, he has Conor Benn. Pacquiao's on his own. Coming out of retirement, where will his skills be? Coming out of retirement, you hope, just like Mike Tyson, because Pacquiao's much younger, does not get hurt. This is not good for boxing, my friends. I love Conor Benn, and I'd love to see him fight fighters in his own division, active fighters. But apparently we're going to see this. Conor Benn, Manny Pacquiao. So it was a week of fighters coming out of retirement, trying to make big money again, hearing that roar of the crowd again, and not good for boxing. And that looks like that's going to happen. The date will be announced soon, I am told. A lot going on in the sport. Some good, some bad. We talk about it here on the program. I write about it on numerous forums, especially on NewYorkSports8.com. Let's move to the UFC. A lot of news coming out of the MMA. Over the weekend, Sean O'Malley with his first title defense. Marlon Vega, bantamweight title, UFC 299. He dominated the first 3 rounds of the fight. Carl, do we have an image of that fight? I know we do. UFC 299, Sean O'Malley with his first title defense against Marlon Vera. Carl, do you have that image? Apparently not. The way my day's been going, folks. My apology to you on that as well. All right. And Friday, UFC Fight Pass. This is boxing, Madison Square Garden, the theater. Kaleem Walsh, the undefeated knockout artist from Ireland. St. Patrick's Day weekend in New York at the Garden. He'll be the main event. I'll be there at ringside. Hope to have some footage for you next week. Rashid Mahdi, the Albanian Bull, junior welterweight, upcoming rising star. Also on the undercard. Good card of boxing in the Garden at the theater, Madison Square Garden. Friday night in New York. Look forward to that. Also out of the MMA. The biggest MMA draw of the era, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, June 1st, 10 rounds, announced today, Inglewood, California, at the Forum in L.A. 175 pounds will be contested. Now, this is boxing, going to be a boxing match, though, not MMA. So we're getting an MMA fighters transforming again into pro fighters. It's going to be interesting to see how this develops. Boxing, not MMA, for Nate Diaz and Masvidal on June 1st, 10 rounds. And, of course, Masvidal won their MMA bout at via TKO. in November of 2019. So it was a rematch, but not an MMA fight. It's boxing, June 1st. Going to see that. It's coming up. There's a lot of news coming out of there as well. All right, folks, going to take a quick break, regroup here, come back, talk some more boxing stuff and some more, of course, the pro wrestling stuff. But first, Carl, put it up. Hope you have this. I was going to do the fact of the week with Keith Thurman. I could do it here with everyone right now watching. All right. My fact of the week is about the anchor punch. I was going to give it to Keith Thurman. My apologies again. He's not with us this week due to our technical issues. The right counter that Muhammad Ali caught Sonny Liston in their 1965 rematch. The right counter was given a name. What was the name? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Right counter, Muhammad Ali caught Sonny Liston in their 1965 rematch. This is fact again, not trivia on the program. What was that punch eventually called that Muhammad Ali did? 10 seconds, I'll count it down. Don't even have a sound effect for that. Maybe we'll get that soon if I ever do fact of the week by myself again. Hope not. Doesn't have the same effect unless I have someone on here with me live that can get it. All right. It was known as the Fetch It Anchor Punch when he knocked out, put Sonny Liston down in their rematch in 1965. Muhammad Ali with the right-hand counter against Sonny Liston in their 1965 rematch. They eventually named it the Fetch It Anchor Punch. And Muhammad Ali, as you know, had many, many punches to his repertoire in the ring. More about Ali in a moment in our wrestling segment. We'll get to that and a little more after that. You're watching Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso, solo again on the AGT Network Live, my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate that if you do, despite the technical glitches we've had today. Back in a moment. I'm Rich Mancuso. You're watching Keep It in the Ring. All right, back with you. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for tuning in live this Wednesday afternoon. Social media handle to get me, X, formerly Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe, AGT Network, and my YouTube channel, which is also live right now on YouTube if you're watching. And thank you for your support each and every week on the program. Again, I was hoping to have Keith Thurman. Our technical issues cause that to be scrapped this week. Maybe we'll get him on via Zoom, the other technical part of our new world, or live again. He's preparing for his big fight coming up on Amazon pay-per-view against the Zoo on March 30th in Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena. I wish Keith all the best. And we'll try and line up another fighter on the program next week because Keith won't be available live. Going to be hard with fight week coming up, approaching them really quick. So we'll talk about some other boxing news before I bring in Carl and talk some pro wrestling and a lot of news going on. Of course, some of the upcoming fights of interest are being scrolled as we speak at the bottom of the screen. Take note of that. A relatively quiet weekend in boxing this week, except for one or two shows that you can catch. But other fights announced in Birmingham, England, coming up is middleweight contender Nathan Henry defends his British title against Brad Pauls. That's this Saturday, 12 rounds on ESPN Plus. Again, if you don't have that streaming network and you want to watch it, either go for the free trial or subscribe to it, along with the other streaming networks that are all involved with boxing right now, including Netflix, which I just discussed with Mike Tyson and Logan and Paul and Jake Paul. By the way, crazy with the Paul brothers. They might be fighting with each other verbally because according to Logan Paul, who's the WWE United States champion all over the place, he said that he had the first knock at Mike Tyson. Logan, of course, Jake, his brother, disputed that all over social media today. So what's going on? Who's getting what and where? Oh, we know this. The Logan brothers continue to make a lot of money, continue to be in the spotlight, and they like boxing, of course. They love it. They love MMA. They love it. And pro wrestling they love. And I think eventually, not this year, maybe next, at WrestleMania, you may get to see, which probably be in Las Vegas, by the way. You'll probably get to see the two Logan brothers fight it out in the WWE. Maybe this is the start of that a year before. Who knows? Unbelievable. And also undefeated middleweight contender Christian Babali signed a long-term deal with Top Rank. He's undefeated, 26-0, 22 knockouts. He is top-ranked with Top Rank now, and he's highly ranked. And will end his way into a title picture as a middleweight contender, signed by Top Rank just a day ago. Oscar Valdez, the former two-division champion, gets the Australian Liam Wilson, 12 rounds, March 29th, Glendale, Arizona, Top Rank ESPN. Going to be a good one on March 29th. That free on ESPN as part of your cable package. That's good to hear. Undefeated junior lightweight, Jalen Walker, 12-0-1, 10 knockouts. Also with Top Rank, debuts April 13th, ESPN Plus. Corpus Christi, Texas, supposedly in line for some type of title shot, whoever wins this. And on that card, if it happens, the young heavyweight Jared Anderson, who's been in a lot of legal problems as of late, is on the undercard. I don't know, haven't heard if he's still on this card. As of now, I haven't heard otherwise, that he's still a part of it. But Jared Anderson going through a lot of legal issues right now, not good. And you wonder if that fight will take place for him on that card. But, hey, I like this on March 16th, which is part of this weekend. William Zapata, Maxi Hughes, 12 rounds, IBF, WBA lightweight eliminator. But more so, this is this weekend on the Zone. So you have a good fight card on the Zone this weekend. In fact, it's March 16th, which is Saturday night. And then you have the fight at the Garden on UFC Fight Pass with Kaleem Walsh, headlining at the theater at Madison Square Garden, where I'll be at ringside. You got to look at this show, though, in Vegas on the Zone, as Floyd Schofield versus Estevary Suaro, 10 rounds lightweight. Floyd Schofield is under Floyd Mayweather Promotions wing. And this is Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s young prospect that he's bringing up rather nicely, not slowly. He's getting fights. The young man you got to look out for. He's with Floyd Mayweather, and he's a good one. And 10 rounds lightweight against a Suari Soro, who's going to be a viable opponent. That on the Zone this weekend. Catch it if you have the Zone. And I also like to see on the zone also this weekend on the zone another heavyweight title encounter. All right, that being Joe Joyce versus Tyro Zogler heavyweights. Joe Joyce, of course, always in the heavyweight title mix and is going to need this win. So that's on the zone this weekend. Carl, someone came up with a comment. I'm getting some comments in the room as well. Um, Someone just logged in and left us a comment. Can you put that up? Because I'd like to answer it. Have credentials for the Fight Friday. I'll see you there. That's coming from TB Sports Talk. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you say hello to me Friday night. I don't think they'll have me in the rafters, probably at ringside, but I look forward to seeing you. Thank you for tuning in, watching the program. Folks, let's move on now. Let's get to the Pro Wrestling Report. We have a lot to talk about with WWE and also with AEW. Where should I start, Carl? You want to talk about AEW first? Come on with us, Carl. My producer going through a lot of headaches today as well. Let's talk briefly first about AEW Dynasty has been set. I think you might start to see the beginnings of that tonight on AEW Dynamite on TNT.
Right.
Because the big news here is we're going to see the debut of Mercedes, formerly Sasha Banks, in WWE up in Boston. It's a Boston Money, they're calling it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's always known as big money for her. But yes, they are up in Boston, and tonight's Dynamite is actually known as Big Business.
Yeah, so she's the big business. They've been talking about this over a month or more. She was looking at a WWE deal since, again, that wasn't going to transpire, even with Triple H back in the helm, who she's very tight with. But AEW apparently offered a lot more money and exposure, and she does enhance even more now their female division, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And also the other saving grace about AEW is they're not constantly doing shows after shows after shows. You actually get more home time. Where the WWE, you're actually doing house shows besides Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. So you're home less with WWE, but home more with AEW. So you get time with the family.
She definitely enhances that division, and she reunites with formerly Paige in WWE, and maybe they'll get a feud going because we haven't seen much of Paige in the ring lately.
No, it's more backstage producing for the women.
Paige goes under the name of Sapphire now, right? Am I correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Don't count.
All right, so we look forward to watching AEW tonight. We look forward to watching Dynamite tonight, and that's not why I'm live today, so I wouldn't interfere with that, but we'll catch that tonight. So AEW getting ready for the next pay-per-view, and they're doing more and more of those. Dynasty, I believe it's, what is it, April what? Is it April 21st, the day after, or April? I think it's the 21st, the day after the day after the Garcia Henny fight, if that does go on. All right, let's move on, Call the WWE now. A lot of news, but also watch on Dynamite tonight. You're going to see maybe the potential new opponent for Samoa Joe for the title, right? Is it going to be Swerve Strickland, or is it going to be the big guy who they don't push him enough? What's his name again? I'm drawing a blank.
Page?
No, the big guy. Warlord.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Maybe a three-way spot for that title, or is it going to be Swerve, who's now turned babyface, the good guy, all of a sudden, or is it going to be Samoa Joe and Strickland? Are they going to lead up to that for Dynasty? What have you heard?
Nothing's been confirmed on anything. I heard that it might be Swerve Strickland one-on-one, which I'm all okay with, because Swerve is actually one of the top competitors over there.
Yeah.
Great ring general.
And good move making him a baby face. I like that. The fans are all
Yes.
for him. Okay. So we look for that on AEW Dynamite tonight.
Right. And real
All right.
quick, Dynasty for AEW is April 21st in
Yep.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Right. Good town, St. Louis. Good old wrestling town, known for pro wrestling over the years. Nice to see WWE going in that town again often, and now AEW with a big pay-per-view. All right. Switch gears. WrestleMania season. WWE. I hope you got the images. I want to put this up.
Oh, I do.
Got a lot of them. All right. Cody and The Rock. The slap heard around the world. There it is. As this continues to develop, leading up to the tag match, night one WrestleMania, leading up to night two, where it's going to be. Yep. Well, that's the slap heard around the world. The tag match and the stipulations. What do you think? What do you think, Carl?
The stipulation, I like it. I like it because it's hasn't been done in a long time where you had a stipulation for a match. But I think that somewhere along the line, The Rock is going to turn on Roman.
That was my prevailing thought about it all along, and I still hold to that. And then it was announced today that The Rock, I saw this on X, formerly Twitter. I saw this, that The Rock is scheduled to start filming another movie in his movie career. Well, this guy's so busy. I don't know how he keeps track of things. I thought I was busy. And that will interfere with any WWE work for a few months, which eliminates The Rock then continuing this feud for a few months, which eliminates The Rock from possibly appearing in Saudi Arabia where they want him. So he'll be out of the picture. So WrestleMania gets more interesting because we know The Rock is not going to be available for a few months.
But also, too, they actually just announced something Monday night, which is an interesting one. It is a 6-pack challenge for the tag team titles.
Right. That too.
And it's a ladders match.
Let me tell you something. And you're going to get Jay Uso and his brother, Jimmy. And you're going to get this double main event for both different nights. And you're going to get, of course, Rhea Ripley against Becky Lynch. And you got a ton of good matches for this double night of WrestleMania. Need be that they had to do it because of their new involved with TKO and Endeavor on and also on Peacock. Which, by the way, Peacock is more involved in boxing as well. I think they announced a fight coming up on Peacock. One of those fights I gave out earlier is going to be on Peacock. I forgot which one it was, but there it is. Let me get to this before we continue. Peacock announced today, May 11th, female fighter, good one, Jessica McCaskill defends her WBA welterweight title against Lauren Price on Peacock, the streaming network, May 11th. So they're all battling the streaming networks, boxing and wrestling, including the Netflix deal with Jake Paul and stuff. But let's get back to this discussion. WrestleMania is shaping up to be a very, very good, if not excellent, two-night card. Stacked with storylines and matches. So if you're not watching Raw and SmackDown the next couple of weeks, you're going to be lost.
Exactly, because, I mean, it's only right in April, the first weekend in April.
Okay, so to summarize again, Cody Rock, right? Cody against The Rock. Mm-hmm. Cody and Seth against The Rock and Roman Reigns. And I think there'll be shenanigans there. Like what we don't know what's going to be the outcome, but I expect a lot of shenanigans to occur. That's going to cause the next night for Reigns to lose his titles. And I think The Rock is going to be a part of that. Why? They're going to turn on each other, and it's going to lead to an eventual Rock Reigns match that we wanted to see from the beginning. Do you
Correct.
agree?
Yes, I agree 100%. And
Okay.
to me, that match there with Rock and Roman, that would be the passing of the torch to say, yes, Roman is the head of the table.
Okay.
But that can't happen right now.
But you
Because
could
he's
tell
still
these little teases going on that you see when they're in the ring together. You could tell that by Roman Reigns' expressions and how The Rock keeps rambling on, taking up a lot of time, that they have to re-scramble in production to shorten this thing. It causes a show like SmackDown did last Friday go abruptly off the air. You could tell that there's something going on there leading up to it, isn't it?
Yes, there
Yeah.
is.
All right. Carl, we'll get back to WrestleMania in a moment. Briefly, you got to have a photo, an image of this. I know you'd put it up. Rey Mysterio's wedding. You have it? Dominic's wedding with Rey Mysterio in the background.
Mysterio.
Just part of the storyline. Dominic Mysterio had an extravagant wedding. As you know, last weekend is on his honeymoon now. Met his childhood school sweetheart. They eventually engaged, got married. At the wedding, Dominic danced with his mother, with his sister, and with his father, Ray, that wasn't on camera, obviously, not to give away kayfabe or whatever you call it. But there's peace and harmony in the family. Folks, remember, this is all storyline. But congratulations to Dominic Mysterio, a married man, but not a changed man in the storyline. And I do expect also in that tag team match in the ladder at WrestleMania, finally, for this group, all right, that Edge created a few years back, I finally expect them to break up. That you will see Damian Priest with the briefcase, which is another mystery. Where does that go? Where does Damian Priest go with that briefcase he's held for a year? And him to break up with Finn Balor and their faction will break up.
The new Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Damian Priest does not need to be in a faction. He is one hell of a competitor. As
outstanding talent. I to me, he lacks his mic skills, and when he talks, you could tell that he's still uncomfortable. I don't know. I just don't like the way he presents himself on the mic when he's speaking. However, as a wrestler, he's supreme.
Yes, and I've seen him here in Jersey in the Indies before he got signed. And man, I'll tell you, you want to talk about a top star athlete? That's him.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. All right, let's move on. SummerSlam looks like it's headed to Cleveland, and we'll be at Brown Stadium. A lot of teases about that today, Triple H and so forth on social media. August 3rd in Cleveland. In fact, this is where Logan Paul on his podcast came out with it and spilled the beans, and then Triple H answered to it. And Logan Paul says he expects LeBron James to be there, and I do expect that. So another talented athlete in the sports universe is going to make a WWE appearance. Logan Paul and LeBron James tangling it up at SummerSlam, maybe, or at least go face to face.
I would say go face to face.
I don't think LeBron James is going to tangle in the wrestling ring still in his career. So this all-time great NBA star. But that's a big news. Cleveland, site of SummerSlam, August 3rd, outdoors again. Probably on Peacock, on the streaming network, a PLE event, August 3rd, Cleveland Browns Stadium. Look forward to that with Logan Paul and I wouldn't doubt LeBron James. All right. So, big news, the WWE Hall of Fame coming out with more inductees day by day as we get ready for their event and induction. That being going to be seen on Peacock right after SmackDown on the first night of WrestleMania, which is what, April 5th? April 5th, I believe, right? All right.
Well, it's the day before. April 5th, which is the day before WrestleMania.
All right. First, the big news was that I talked earlier about Muhammad Ali and our fact of the week. This is big You got an image of that? There we go. Muhammad Ali, one of the new inductees in WWE Hall of Fame, going in there with Paul Heyman. A part of the first WrestleMania in New York at Madison Square Garden, and continued his ties with WWE until his death. The Hall of Fame boxer, many say one of the best heavyweights that ever lived. Maybe I dispute that. I still say Rocky Marciano was, but Muhammad Ali right in that class, of course. Nothing against Ali. I loved him. I was at that first WrestleMania. And I couldn't believe what Muhammad Ali, how he performed in the first WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden, back in 1982, I believe it was. The Vince McMahon concept that's continually grown, a Vince McMahon concept that made a lot of money, continues to make a lot of money, part of his legacy that we may never hear of ever again, because McMahon's totally out of the picture with his sexual harassment charges that are very, very deep and getting more deep by the day, because now there's number 1, 2, or 3, Nick Khan, who's the head of WWE and not content, but vice president or president of in this new endeavor with TKO, and then you have Stephanie McMahon being maybe number 3, and noticeable that why Stephanie disappeared. She knew what was going on. But that's another story for another day. Let's talk about the Hall of Fame. A good moment for WWE. Muhammad Ali going in, and then this one coming in. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda, the USA Express. This was good to see. Of course, Mike Rotunda had a great career in WWE as also Mr. IRS. Great character back then in their Attitude Era. And Barry Windham, uttermost respect for him.
Mike Rotunda, actually, a lot of people don't realize this, has 2 sons that were professional wrestlers. One of them was Bo Dallas. And the other one was the late Bray Wyatt.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a lot of talk
this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk that the late Bray Wyatt, who died an unfortunate death late last year, big loss for the wrestling community, big loss for WWE, that he's going to be inducted, and that he will go in.
A comment coming in from one of your friends.
I wish Windham and Rotunda. Yes,
I wish Windham and Rotunda would have went in individually. I agree.
I do too. But they were a good tag team back then, and they deserved to go in as a tag team. And WWE Hall of Fame, they've been able to do that. They've done double inductees. They've done that before, so it's quite likely. But look, this is good. I like it. I like that they're both going in together. They were a good tag team. They entertained the crowd. They did a lot for WWE, then WWF also at the time. And deservingly going in as a tag team, which also gives exposure to their tag team division. But go back to Bray Wyatt, because there was talk about him going in, and I think he will. And who is going to be a part of that inductee? That was a rumor today. Strong rumor that could happen. Someone is going to induct him. Not his. I don't know if his wife. She might be too distraught.
Right.
Yes.
It could be.
Yes.
Mike Rotunda's son, Bo Dallas.
Could be, because he's still part of WWE. Works behind the scenes.
Because he actually plays Uncle Howdy.
But that would be I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, which will fulfill a star-studded class of WWE Hall of Famers going in this year. So that's going to be quite a ceremony. And with Bray Wyatt, of course, that would be very emotional. Of course, Paul Heyman leads the top. A friend of mine said, why Paul Heyman? He doesn't deserve to be there. That he's a nitwit nut. That he's a nerd. You don't believe? Come on. I had a big argument. Paul Heyman deserves that. He's been such an asset to the wrestling industry, not only now in WWE and a big creator of the bloodline as the storyline continues to develop with him and Reigns. Before that, Brock Lesnar was no longer involved because of the scandal with WWE. They pulled all that Brock Lesnar history also. But also with ECW, what he did there with no money, how he made ECW into a major independent wrestling promotion. He deserves it. I'm so happy for him. I've known him a long time. We lost contact. I remember when Paul Heyman knocked on doors to get in arenas, including a few shows that I was involved with in the Bronx years back. He was a teenager, 17, 18 years old, wanted to come in, give him a pad, take photos. I was more happy to do it. Yeah. You know? Who would induct Heyman? Who do you think will induct Paul Heyman?
That's a good question. And me personally, I think it should be CM Punk.
Yeah, it probably will. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Same line of thought.
If he didn't have the issue,
it would have been Lesnar. Yeah,
but
that would be CM Punk because he was a part of it. Yes, he was a part of Heyman's history. And finally, we get the other news about another inductee. Glad to see 82-year-old Thunderbolt Patterson with his getting induction. Congratulations. For years, Thunderbolt Patterson in the wrestling industry was never taken seriously. They all thought he was a fly-by-night pro wrestler. He, one of the first emerging black stars in pro wrestling. Of course, we got that years ago from alone and really only one, the late Bobo Brazil and the Coco Butt. I remember that well. Then you had Coco Beware, a part of that history with WWF back then. Now, Thunderbolt Patterson gets his due. The newest inductee in WWE Hall of Fame. So a star-studded class, Carl. They did well.
They did perfect this year. For the first time in a long time, they did the Hall of Fame right. But we also have a comment coming in from your buddy. On a comment on who should be the one for Paul Heyman. And he says, should be Joey Styles.
Well, that's possible. Joey Styles, an old friend of mine. One of the first. I hate to talk about my history because it shows how old I am, and I don't want to brag about it. And then eventually a book will come out. But Joey Styles did his first professional wrestling match on camera with me, an independent promotion. I remember it vividly. Years ago in the early 80s up in Monticello, New York, in the Catskill region, at the old Grossinger's Hotel, I think it was. And the Savoldis were running the independent group at the time. Joey Styles was introduced to me and said, he's going to handle commentary with you. We want to give the young man a chance. At that time, he was doing some broadcasting, a little this and that, wasn't being heard. They don't have social media like we have it today where anybody can do anything they want. But he came on. I thought he was fabulous with me. In fact, he made me look bad. I was still green in the industry, younger than I am now. More hair on my head, less weight on my body. Shut up, Carl. But Joey Styles was fabulous. And I said to him at the time, you are a rising star on the mic. You're going to get somewhere in this business. And he surely did. We lost contact, of course, became Paul Heyman's biggest guy on the mic with ECW, and he's out of the business now. He's out of the business. He's making more money doing something else and more happy with the schedule he has. But I'd love to see Joey Styles induct him. I would love to see Joey Styles induct Paul Heyman or someone else. Good idea. Maybe WWE is listening and maybe they have that in the plan. But congratulations to all those new WWE inductees. It's going to be quite an event. Right after SmackDown, the night before the first night of WrestleMania in Philadelphia on April the 4th, right? Or the 5th? The 5th. Peacock will have
April
it live.
4th is the Hall of Fame dinner, right? Yep. And Rich,
you know what, Carl? And I'm going to get going too. You know, Carl,
can be nice. Here from Miss Sophia. Carl, be nice to Rich. He's an amazing person.
Well, thank you, Sophia. I appreciate that. Let's just hope next week the technical glitches are straightened out. The images go up that we have. The videos I want to put up go on. And that we also have a guest and whoever on will go on live. Again, thanks for your help. I know it's been a tough day for you and me as well. Carl, see you next week as I wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. Carl, where do fans get your content on the AGT Network Live? Let's plug that, of course.
So for the wrestling side and also combat sports, it's called the Main Event Podcast. We normally go live on Fridays. However, this week we're going to go live Saturday morning. So you can catch us right here on the AGT Network on YouTube and Facebook. Check out all our social medias. The AGT Network's on every social media: Instagram, X, TikTok, so Facebook, and also on YouTube.
So please, fans, log in on the AGT Network, catch Carl's programs, and of course, keep it in the ring here every week. I don't know if we'll be live next week. What I could tell you is we're going to get the technical glitches straightened out, and we will. The AGT Network is pretty new to this, and they're new, and they're starting up, getting those glitches taken care of, and these things do happen. So again, my apologies for coming on late live today as advertised. My apologies again for not having Keith Thurman on with us. Perhaps we'll get him on Zoom next week live again, or talk to him after his fight coming up on PBC's Amazon Prime pay-per-view March 30th as he fights the tough Tszyu. On a great card of boxing on Amazon Prime in their debut with the PBC coming up March 30th. So you might want to catch that. That's worth the price to pay for, my friends, if you're a boxing fan and love the sport as much as I do. So next week, back with you. Catch me on my social media. Twitter, formerly X, formerly Twitter, Ring786. Scroll at the bottom of your screen again, Carl, put it up. And also Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, and other social media platforms. I'll get back to each and one of you as I appreciate your continued support. Like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, please, at the AGT Network and also my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, where we're seen live as well. And on tape to live, we do that here on the channel. Appreciate your continued support. Love your comments. Love your feedback. And again, I'm sorry if things went astray this week. It happens when you're doing things live in real time. I'm a little upset, too, because the Fordham Rams, who I have a very big passion for, lost a close one to VCU in the Atlantic 10 Conference Championship Tournament just moments ago at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the site of Garcia-Henny, April 20th. Fordham will move on. VCU moves on in the tournament. I'm not going to talk that right now. This is keep it in the ring, not keep it on the court. No. Anyway, thanks for watching, fans. Thank you all. Thanks for Carl behind the scenes and all of you. Back next week. Until then, take care of yourselves. Be well. Be nice to the person next to you or whoever you meet. I'd love to see that. I try to do that as well. God bless you all. Keep it in the ring till next week, everyone. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for watching.